Elon businesses are looking for liquor in their future. I'll give you the details on tomorrow's vote coming up.
24 North Carolinians have E. coli. Find out where they got it and how to prevent it.
Going out of business. Find out which school bell might be ringing for the last time. I'm Nicole Chadwick.
And I'm Addie Haney. All that and more tonight on Phoenix 14 News. Good evening and thanks for joining us. If you go to a bar in Elon tonight, you can only order beer or wine.
But depending on how people vote tomorrow, hard liquor could be added to the drink list. Sam Baranowski joins us in the studio with more. Sam?
Thanks, Nicole. Restaurant and bar owners in Elon say they're losing business, and in turn, the town of Elon is losing business to neighboring towns with bigger drink menus. They made the push to Elon's Board of Aldermen to add a liquor by the drink referendum to tomorrow's ballot in the summer, and that poll opens in just 12 hours. But the ballot was decided back in July, and Fat Frog General Manager Peter Eustache says it wasn't the first time liquor was proposed. Last year when they had this discussion, community members were concerned that students would have easier access to liquor and it would cause safety issues. It's not just Fat Frog, though. Businesses in downtown Elon banded together this summer on the issue, and West End Station has actually hired students to encourage other students to register to vote in the town of Elon so they can participate. One of those students, Sammy Wiltsey, who's West End promoter, said, quote, "Not a lot of people wanted to change their voter registration in their home state, but a few people filled them out, and she thinks those few people will make the difference." Community members say they're excited that students will have the opportunity to go to bars and have their liquor consumption monitored. They hope that this will cause less issues with the police and less issues between the university and the community members. While a passing vote might benefit students, they're not the people that businesses are targeting. Fat Frog owners and West End Station owners told me they're excited that students and community members will be able to come into Elon and shop around. You'll find opposition in a college town anytime there's a decision on alcohol, but most of the people I spoke to were excited about liquor by the drink, bringing more shoppers and more money to downtown Elon. Polls open at 6:30 a.m. and close at 7:30 p.m. So if you live in the town of Elon and you're registered, you can vote at the Elon Church on Williamson Avenue. Back to you guys.
We're currently having some technical difficulties with that story, but it will be online later this evening. And guess what? It's early November, and that means it's time to head to the polls. This year, there are 4 candidates running for 3 spots on Elon's Board of Aldermen. Here's some information about each candidate. The first candidate is Mark Green. He is currently on the board and running for his 2nd term. In the past, Green has voted in favor of putting liquor by the drink on the ballot, as well as constructing a sidewalk on Haggard and building a library for the town of Elon. Next is Ron Klepchik. Klepchik is running for his 4th term and is currently Mayor Pro Tem. He is also the Director of Human Resources here at Elon University. Like Green, Klepchik has voted in favor of building a library, constructing a sidewalk on Haggard, and putting liquor by the drink on the ballot. The third candidate is John Peterson Jr., owner of the Peterson Agency. This is his 1st time running for office, and he is in favor of putting liquor by the drink on the ballot. The final candidate is Jim Chaunis. Chaunis is a retired businessman who, like Peterson, is running for the 1st time for the public office. Like his opponents, he also supports putting liquor by the drink on the ballot. The Board of Aldermen serves as the governing force for the town of Elon. They oversee the town's budget, construction projects, and overall maintenance.
2 former Elon students are facing further trials from the drug bust in October. Matthew Ford and Andrew Milne appeared in court Friday after being arrested on separate criminal charges. Ford was arrested for drug-related charges, including possession with intent to sell, and Milne was arrested for conspiring to sell ecstasy along with other drug charges. Both are being tried in criminal court. Ford's trial will be held February 3rd, and Milne's will be on February 13th.
Some changes around Elon are easy to see, and others happen without us noticing. Katie O'Brien is live in the studio to tell us more about one change that won't be happening around campus just yet. Katie?
Well, that's right. Registration ends tomorrow, but 2 professors have been working on a proposal that could change this Elon experience.
If practices work, keep them. We're not saying, oh, we just have to be different, so we got to change something because people are all like us now.
After 15 years under the current academic system, Professors Tom Mould, Rosemary Haskell, and 16 other faculty and staff members set out to reconstruct the general studies system that partly defines an Elon education.
We're trying to help students see their college careers in a kind of organically unified way.
In December, faculty accepted an amended mission statement that put an emphasis on lifelong learning as global citizens. And after more than 2 years of research, studies, forums, and surveys, the new course proposal was up for a vote. The main changes that were proposed included an additional 4 hours of a foreign language, an additional experiential learning requirement, eliminating the health class requirement, changing category titles from civilization, society, expression, and science to better reflect the purpose of each class, and shifting course hours to be included in advanced studies. One of the new ways to account for the extra advanced studies credits would be through a proposed pathway.
Now, instead of taking kind of a class here, a class there, a class over here, we want students to be a little more intentional. You can sample broadly in the distribution. Take whatever kind of class you think might excite you.
Pathways would consist of 3 or more courses from different departments that would focus on one topic, anything from Aborigines culture to media and the industrial age. Students will not be seeing these changes soon. In a vote at a specially called faculty meeting, the proposal was voted down. Haskell and Mold were disappointed.
This is 2 years and 3 months, something like that. So we're naturally very disappointed that it didn't go through.
I think we crafted a really exciting curriculum that I thought I was excited about teaching as a faculty within this curriculum. I was excited for what my students were going to get out of this curriculum.
We also talked to faculty in the professional schools of business, communication, and education who opposed this new proposal. Their concern was that their classes would be ignored by non-majors in the curriculum that highlights arts and sciences. This proposal was not passed as a whole, but the faculty will be meeting again Wednesday to readdress some sections that could be passed independently in the future. For more details on the proposed changes or to follow this story, go to Phoenix14News.wordpress.com.
Elon students placed second at the recent College Fed Challenge, a simulation of federal open market committee decisions. Students delivered 20-minute presentations explaining what policies they would use to regulate open market operations. Judges, comprised of economists from the federal and state level, selected the winners. Several schools from the Carolinas competed.
China is in the midst of a global controversy. Japan just suffered a devastating cyber attack, and North Korea is about to cause World War III. You probably haven't heard any of these because they didn't really happen. Yesterday, Elon's Model United Nation conducted the first 2 sessions of their annual crisis simulation. But this year, for the first time ever, they predicted the future as opposed to simulations about the present. They are pretending that they live in 2015. More than 200 students participated in the simulation in Lindner Hall and are currently continuing their 3rd session. We spoke to Brooke Kastner, who organized the event, to see just what she thinks the world would be like 3 years from now.
Definitely a very different world. Hegemonic power is going to be changing drastically, and the United States will not be the only major power that you see today.
Running back Jamal Schumann was suspended indefinitely by head football coach Jason Swepson after the senior tweeted about his frustration about his lack of playing time. David Hodges looks at how 140 characters can land you in trouble.
Jamal Schumann was a star sophomore year, leading the Phoenix in rushing, but since an ankle injury in 2010, he's rarely seen the field. Coach Jason Swepson has kept Schumann on the bench, but that didn't keep him off of Twitter, where the running back complained about his role in several expletive-filled tweets to his followers, and as Elon senior Adam Lawson informed him, to the athletic department as well.
When you use Twitter like that, it's a vehicle to communicate, but it's also a vehicle to get you in trouble. And I knew instantly when I saw Schumann's tweets that something was going to go wrong, and he was kind of shooting himself in the foot, metaphorically.
And it's something Schumann should have known too. The Elon Student Athlete Handbook warns athletes about using online social media and even tells them that coaches will be checking their personal sites.
What we do try to do is just point out all of the pitfalls and potential things to make sure that they're using it properly.
Blank says the athletic department is likely to review its rules on social media to make sure athletes are aware of the potential consequences of out-of-line comments.
As a benchmark going forward, then we meet with every team, and then we also meet with all incoming freshmen to make sure that, because we feel like if we've had a meeting and educated everybody, we have a starting point.
David Hodges, Phoenix 14 News.
Schumann's tweets had more than 800,000 views on the sports website Deadspin.com, another example of how your words are rarely private on the internet.
An Elon student is starting a Latter-day Saints Student Association here on campus. Sophomore Sarah Lau is the founder and president of the developing organization and said that they will create a community for Mormons on campus. She hopes that non-Mormons will come to meetings to learn more about the religion.
Today, the United States Census Bureau released an alternative measure to handle the recent poverty increase. According to the Census Bureau, the official poverty rate is 15.2%, but 16% of the nation is currently living in poverty. This new measure intends to implement anti-poverty programs and help policy members better understand them.
The Pew Research Center released a report today saying that the gap between generations is widening rapidly. The center reports that there is a 68% decline in wealth among younger people compared to the same age group 25 years earlier. The poverty gap is attributed to the weak economy as well as the younger generation putting off key milestones and leading more independent lives. Scientists are getting a rare opportunity to study an asteroid that will pass closer to the Earth than the Moon. The asteroid 2005 YU-55 will sail 201,000 miles from Earth Tuesday night at 6:28 p.m. This is the closest an object of this size has been to the Earth since 1976. The object will be too hard to see with the naked eye and maybe even be difficult with a telescope. Even with the close distance, scientists predict that this object will never collide with the Earth or the Moon.
We've got some tips on how to stay healthy in tonight's Phoenix 14 Health Watch. It's been confirmed that 9 people who attended the state fair were infected with E. coli, and 15 are still unconfirmed. Scarlett Fakar has more on where the bacteria comes from and how it can be avoided.
This is not the first time there has been an E. coli outbreak after the North Carolina State Fair, and it may not be the last. Dr. Stephanie Neese of the North Carolina Public Health Division talked about E. coli, how it forms, and how to avoid it.
Hands are the primary way that contaminated material gets into a human body. So washing your hands after you've used the restroom, before you eat, definitely after visiting animals, that's the best way to kind of prevent E. coli.
Elon biology professor Antonio Izzo said that E. coli forms in the gut, and that it can be produced by contact with animal feces as well as contaminated meats and dairy products.
Well, first let's stress that, yes, there's plenty of good E. coli out there, and we carry these around with us anyways. You've got numbers in the ballpark of maybe 1% of all the microbes that are in you are E. coli.
Here's an example of a strain of E. coli. Now, although E. coli can be harmful to the human body, scientists and researchers often use it because it's easy to manipulate and grow. And as of now, Dr. Neese says officials are doing everything they can to pinpoint a source of the outbreak.
So at this point, what we're doing is comparing the activities of those people who are ill and attended the state fair with the activities of people who did not become ill but attended the state fair on the same day.
But Dr. Neese and Professor Izzo said not to drive yourself crazy when it comes to worrying about this bacteria. Making sure your meat is cooked, washing your hands, and making sure your dairy products are pasteurized are important tips to avoid E. coli poisoning. Scarlett Fakar, Phoenix 14 News.
Dr. Neese says that some of the common symptoms of E. coli poisoning are nausea, vomiting, stomach cramps, and bloody diarrhea. Doctors have not pinpointed the cause of the outbreak, but Neese says they are working rapidly to do so.
Coming up on Phoenix 14 News, a lack of funding might force a local school to close its doors. We'll tell you what school after the break. Members of a Burlington church are taking their ministry into the parking lot. Find out why later in the show. Elon Athletics were busy this weekend. Find out how they did in sports later in the show.
Still involved.